This is Boyd the Broker. You know, I suffered a major stroke in 2021. Now I've become an example of what can be accomplished with dedication, family, and above all, hope. I'm willing to discuss anything so that others will find inspiration to recover as well as I have. Boyd the Broker podcast. Alicia, boy, your friend Rosa really wants to get on camera, doesn't she?
Oh, she's very photogenic, so I don't blame her.
She's trying to take away your 10 minutes of fame.
Oh, she's way more famous than I am.
Or as your husband would say, there's no fame here because nobody's going to watch this. Can you believe he said that? Right? That sounds like your husband, doesn't it?
Our friends and family are going to watch it.
and that's about it. Holy cow. Well, you know what? We're going to slow it down because I've had so much fun. But you and I, as I was talking with Jeff, we broke bread. So we're like, that's next level in California. In California, when you break bread with somebody, it's like, wow, you're semi-related. And we started talking about serious things. And we started talking about we're here with the Jimmy Miller Foundation, and they talk about ocean therapy, and Nancy and Jim lost their son to suicide 20 years ago. And the community has come together and just talked about things that everybody's been afraid to talk about. And you and I briefly talked about it. And so I'm jumping right into this because I think you and I might be able to have a quick, serious conversation that people need to hear, because you've had a close friend take their life. And I want you to take some time and sort of just discuss how it not only affected you, but affected what you saw around their life and what you saw perhaps before, which is the thing that is so interesting to see if we see the signs. Can you talk about that? Are you comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, I had my best friend in Poland. She committed suicide a month after Jeff and I got married. So I saw her a month prior to that at our wedding, and it was completely, I can't say it was completely out of the blue, because kind of backing out 6 months before that, I got a very disturbing email from her where she said, you've been my good friend, and we've done so much, but I'm gonna ask you for one last favor, and I want you to find me pills that would just help me end it. So I was completely shocked. I did not see it coming. We had stayed in touch, throughout the years, even though obviously I was in the US and she was in Poland. But I didn't see it coming. And at first I didn't want to take it seriously. I thought it was kind of like a stupid joke, and, she just threw it out there to get some reaction out of me. But lucky enough, my best friend here is a psychologist. So I called her and I said, should I take it seriously? Is that, or is it just like some stupid, attempt for some cry for attention? And she said, no, you need to take it seriously. She needs help, and she needs help immediately. So I called my friend in Poland. I called her husband. I called her son, who was a young adult, and I said, Mom needs help. You need to get her to psychologist or psychiatrist as soon as possible. I think she's depressed and she is thinking about suicide. So they apparently did that. They got her help. She got on some medication. And we spoke, and she said it was fine, but then she said she didn't want to take the medication because it made her feel like a zombie. But she was fine. But I knew from her son that, they went through very serious depression where she wouldn't dress herself. She didn't want to eat. It was not good. But then I saw her at my wedding, and she kept asking me whether I was okay. And I thought it was an odd question to ask somebody who was just getting married. With friends and family, and obviously it's a happy occasion, but she just kept asking obsessively, are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, well, of course I'm okay. I'm getting married, right? And I felt like and she told me about some personal problems that she had at the time. Her marriage wasn't happy. She had issues with her daughter-in-law. So she wasn't in a happy place, but basically I tried to talk to her. I'm like, okay, these issues are really transient. They're gonna go away. You gotta pull through it. And fast forward a month, I got a phone call from her son, and he said, "Mommy's gone." And I was like, "Well, gone? Like, how did she have a procedure at the hospital? Did she have anything?" And she said, "No, she drowned herself." So obviously, I kept asking, "Is there anything I could have done to prevent that? Should I have seen more signs? Should I have done more?" And it was, for months I couldn't look at the water because every time I looked, it reminded me of her. But I talked to my friend who is a psychologist here, and she said, look, people who commit suicide often feel like this is the only solution. They actually imagine how they feel before they actually do the act. It's not going to do you any good because you don't know how they feel, but they often feel actually euphoria and looking at that as the final solution and great solution at that moment.
Almost a relief.
Yeah, almost a relief.
I really appreciate you sharing that story. It's people need to hear real stories about the good and bad of what's happened, right? And you kept saying that you weren't sure if you saw the signs, and when I was speaking to the Millers, everybody is. You don't think that somebody would go to that extreme. We just don't know anymore, and it's nice to know that we have a forum to talk about it. And I don't know where this goes. I don't know what happens, but we spoke about it, and I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity to share it. I just think everybody should take this science seriously.
Yeah, that's exactly
because
it.
Obviously, you think it's not possible, but it is, and you can hit very close to home.
Yep. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Boyd.
I'm Boyd the Broker. I appreciate you tuning into my podcast. I live in the real world. Where do you live?